Louise Upston.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm very pleased to be able to speak and to answer some of the issues or the misinformation that's been spread by the other side of the House. So it's great to be able to get the record straight. This is a very practical bill solving a practical problem that affects not only visitors to this country but more importantly local residents of places that are popular for overseas guests to camp. So one of the things that the opposition haven't really kind of got their head around is the presumption, the shift of the presumption of where you can camp and where you can't. And I would suggest, Mr. Speaker, that one of the reasons that the councils currently have bylaws in place that put blanket bans in place is that they have not had any practical tools to deal with the problems. And that's exactly what this bill delivers. So that's the first point, Mr. Speaker, is to say that this bill changes the presumption to say you can freedom camp anywhere unless there is a local council bylaw that says otherwise. And I know it's not normal in this reading, but I do want to bring the House's attention to page 8 of the Freedom Camping Bill. And it is Part 2, Clause 11(2), which states the reasons in which a council can make a bylaw. And it is to protect the area, to protect the health and safety of the people who visit the area, to protect access to the area. But the key phrase, Mr. Speaker, is this, and the Select Committee did a significant amount of work to get this wording right, so I do want to thank the officials, both from DIA and DOC. The bylaw is the most appropriate and proportionate way of addressing the perceived problem in relation to that area. So it means, Mr. Speaker, that you cannot pass a blanket bylaw. And this is an example of one of the concerns that the Federated Mountain Clubs raised with us. So for those who are interested in, hunting, fishing, tramping, we answered their concern by actually saying the presumption is stronger. This allows them to camp. We also redefined whether it was somebody who'd been travelling overnight and their ability to sleep and rest in their vehicle to keep their driving safe. But the main point that I want to say, Mr. Speaker, though, is this is about protecting the right for New Zealand families to camp. And I want to give an example. I want to give a personal example. Because I was raised camping by the lakes, by the rivers, by the beaches. And I want to say that in this situation, I remember times with my son when, staying in a campground wasn't affordable for me at that time. So what we would do is we'd pack up the borrowed tent, we'd jump in the car and we would drive to a place yet undiscovered. And this bill protects the right of New Zealanders to have those kind of adventures in this country because it will stop the blanket bylaws. It's all around giving councils the tools so they won't have to put blanket bans in place like they have today. Give them an instant fine, give them a tool, make it consistent for the local council and DOC, and that's why this is a nice practical bill that protects New Zealanders' long-fought ability to camp in the great outdoors. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I call the Honourable Ruth Dyson.
Thank you very much.